Good evening and welcome to SVG-TV News and Sports for Tuesday, October 14th, 2014. I am Jennifer Richardson with the details. The Ministry of Health is said to be looking into the possibility of leasing the Merrifield Hospital for about 4 months as rehabilitation works continue at the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital. At a media conference today, Prime Minister Dr. Rav Gonsalves said the rehabilitation works at the main hospital are being carried out by Hutchinson Construction and there will be the need to shift some of the departments at the hospital. Hence, he said consideration is being given to leasing the privately operated Merrifield Hospital to accommodate the process.
We shouldn't be more than that because we want to make sure in all the changes which we are making down at the hospital for the temporary purposes while the contract is being carried out, as far as is humanly possible, not to have unbearable inconveniences. It's a big rehabilitation project. It's $5.5 million. There is a challenge with all the work which is being done with the maternity ward, and I know that and I've given the green light for those negotiations to go ahead. I'd asked to call Dr. Garrow this morning, who I understand is cooperating quite well with the ministry.
Prime Minister Dr. Rav Gonsalves is sticking to his decision to appoint former talk show host Cian Marshall as SVG's Deputy Consul General in New York. At today's media conference, Dr. Gonsalves made it clear that he will not be throwing Marshall under the bus for comments he made, adding that anyone who wants to argue with his decision can do so.
Anybody who wants to damn me for sticking with Cian Marshall on this thing, damn me. I'm not running him under the bus. I didn't ask Cian to apologize because your brother journalist had asked me if I had demanded of Cian to apologize. Remember I told you no? I only told him what I was going to say, and he went and he apologized. And I have heard nothing to change my mind on the subject. And I have given my views honestly, and I show you as a reasonable man, Kenton, in your heart, that you know that Ralph is right, in the way in which I've explained it.
Dr. Gonsalves said he is hopeful that Marshall will take up the position soonest.
The number of persons who consider themselves to be, who are to be preferred persons for positions like these. It's just amazing. Just absolutely amazing.
Prime Minister Dr. Rav Gonsalves will return to Havana for the Alba Ebola Summit scheduled for October 20th. Speaking at a welcome home ceremony upon his return to SVG on Saturday after a 2-week stay in Cuba, Prime Minister Gonsalves said the summit was proposed by the Venezuelan president and that he would attend once it has been finalized. At today's media conference, the Prime Minister announced that the summit was confirmed and he will be heading a delegation to the event.
With two public officials in the field of public health, and very central in this respect in the health system, that is to say Dr. Simone Keyser Beach, Chief Medical Officer, and Dr. Franklin James, who was himself trained in Cuba and who is working here on this matter.
Dr. Gonsalves noted that the sitting of Parliament will consequently be pushed back to Friday, October 24th.
Not to be a long sitting, but then again, with Parliament, you may think that it's not going to be a long sitting, but then it turns out so to be. I also want to indicate to the country, as I always do, well in advance, that I intend to have the estimates tabled in the House and the debate commence sometime towards the end of November. Yesterday, I had discussions with the Director General of Finance and Planning on this matter. I'm going to see him a little later today after this press conference on certain matters. The discussions are going on among the public servants. I will give the actual date in Parliament next week Friday when I go to Parliament.
The ruling Unity Labour Party will on Thursday, October 16th, celebrate 20 years of existence. Party leader Prime Minister Dr. Rav Gonsalves said March 2015 will be considered another milestone as the party will commemorate 14 years in office.
This year, of course, too, in February, I celebrated my 20th anniversary as a parliamentarian. I didn't do any public celebration, but it was acknowledged in Parliament, and some of the persons I know called in and so forth. And then on March 28th next year, the Unity Labour Party would be 14 consecutive years in office. Thursday, the 16th of October, is also an important day personally in my political life, and that is the 46th anniversary of the day from which I marked my political activism formally, seriously.
Just under a week after pleading guilty to 2 criminal charges, former Registrar Tamara Gibson Marks received her sentencing today. Marks was ordered by District 1 Magistrate Carla James to pay a fine of $4,500 in 1 month or face 3 months behind bars for the charge of theft, the amount of $21,925. On the other guilty plea of abuse of authority in office, she was ordered to pay $6,000 in 3 months or face 6 months behind bars. With the criminal charges now behind her, Gibson Marks will now await her disbarment hearing brought forward by Attorney General Judith Jones Morgan. Still to come, we'll have more stories on the local scene when SVG-TV News continues. Welcome back. Top junior savers were today recognized for their thrifty efforts at the 2014 edition of the National Schools Cooperative Awards ceremony held at the Peace Memorial Hall. The initiative is that of the Ministry of National Mobilization through its cooperative department in collaboration with the Ministry of Education and affiliate credit unions. According to the ministry, the ceremony is geared at highlighting the importance of thrift in the growth and development of the school's cooperative program, to acknowledge the financial achievements by several students in the program, and to encourage stakeholders to intensify their collaborative efforts. Registrar of Cooperative Societies Cecile Jackson says the school's cooperative program continues to provide a platform for youth entrepreneurship.
Agribusiness program, which is a sister component, continues to focus on the production of poultry and vegetable production and provides a gateway for students who are entering the program at a very early age. Generally, both programs promote the principles of collective ownership and the pooling of resources. Let us all continue to support these two noble programs as we celebrate Cooperative Month 2014 under the theme Local Service, Global Good.
Minister of National Mobilization Frederick Stevenson says it is important that tribute be paid to the students and their teachers who guide them in developing the habit of saving.
The month of October is a very important month in the life of every Vincentian. It is our Independence Month, and this year 2014 makes St. Vincent and the Grenadines 35 years old. And for this, we have had very outstanding achievements over those many years. And let me hasten to say to you that the school's cooperative thrift program is 1 year older than St. Vincent and the Grenadines. This is the 36th year of the school's cooperative thrift program. It is one of the flagship developments in the ministry, and it has been, as I said before, a very outstanding program.
What has been described as a cost-effective and efficient customer service and business process outsourcing solutions company was launched here last evening. Alpha One Data Solutions was launched at the Beachcombers Hotel. The launching ceremony was attended by a number of business personnel. According to the directors, Alpha One Data Solutions aims to offer a time-saving, cost-effective, systematic approach to professionals and organizations with a diverse scope of data solution services. One of the companies already partnering with Alpha One Data Solutions is Lime. The company's general manager, Leslie Jack, says they are happy to be partnering with the young entrepreneurs and give some key advice to them and other businesses. According to Jack, while business is tough, it does not mean businesses should be complicated. He said too often persons focus on the trivial issues and ignore the few critical factors that make the most difference. He says as business operators, one should focus on making customers successful.
On the cliched customer satisfaction rule is not enough in this crowded, competitive environment. It has become necessary for us to look at our business from our customers' perspective with the aim of making them successful. That's right. Your customer's success is just as important. And some may say your customer's success is perhaps even more important than your success. The long-term future of today's business is not tied to securing new customers, but rather to the repeat business of your existing customer base. I could hear you whispering already. Don't get me wrong, increasing the base is very important, but tending to the needs of the existing customers or those customers that you have already is absolutely critical.
He said it is also important that businesses operate efficient processes.
Some business leaders still think of work as a number of tasks grouped into jobs. The silliness of this is that once we have enough people to do the job, then we hire supervisors to look at them. And when we think that the supervisors have too much to do, then we hire managers. It is an old, antiquated pyramid way of operating. Work is really a series of activities that are connected together to form a process. Understanding this process is critical to operating successfully and not worrying about how many people you need for that particular process.
Meanwhile, giving support to Alpha One Data Solutions was Invest SVG. Chief Executive Officer Bernadette Ambrose Black encouraged the team to do their best to make the data solution company a success.
Creative ideas are born through our ability to imagine things outside the boundaries of our current capabilities. The objectives of Alpha One Data Solutions is a perfect example. Just because it was never done here doesn't mean that it cannot be done here. And I think that's what Zara and her team realize, and I think that's the thrust that drives them. It has not been done here, but it does not mean that it cannot be done. It does not mean that it will not succeed here if it is indeed implemented. So now Zara and her team have developed the idea. The task at hand is to continue nurturing it into acceptance and widespread use. Going forward, it means putting in place mechanisms to evaluate its performance, measure its impact, and identify areas that merit improvement so that the systems, or all the systems that you proffered earlier, can remain relevant and competitive.
One of the directors of the company, Janelle McIntyre, said one of their key focus is customer service solutions.
We wanted to go from the approach of the customer. We wanted to ensure that the end result is customer focused, it's customer driven, our systems, our planning, how we approach serving business to business and business to customer, that it is customer centric. So we decided not to call ourselves, well, the part of our business that deals with calls inbound and outbound, a call center. We decided to reterm it as a customer service solution center. So that is what we would like to be known as, and that is what the ethos that we're going forward with.
Other services being offered by the Data Solutions Company include medial, legal, and business transcription, data entry and administrative support services, medical coding, market research, accounts receivables, and debt recovery. Every female 20 years and over should pay close attention to their breasts, and one very important way of detecting anything unusual in the breast is by regular routine self-breast examination. Recently, Jamisha Wright spoke with one breast cancer survivor and consultant radiologist at the Milton Cater Memorial Hospital, Dr. Rosalind Ambrose, who explained how females can better care for their breasts and protect themselves against breast cancer. Viewers' discretion is advised.
According to Dr. Rosalind Ambrose, a breast self-examination is not done to diagnose whether one has breast cancer, but helps females become familiar with how their breasts feel.
It's been shown that when women know the feeling, the sensations of their own breast, they are able to recognize when something is different. And that's what we want to call your attention to. Something feels different in this breast, and so you ought to go to your physician, your healthcare provider, and check it out, depending on what age you are, because you need to be 40 or 35 and over to have a mammogram. Ultrasound is also available, and that's for the younger person who may feel a lump in the breast.
And how often, the self-examination, how often should we carry those out?
Yeah, once a month is sufficient, and the recommendation is that it should be done after the period, because leading up to the menstrual period, sometimes the breast become very active because it is hormonally responsive to the same aspects that make your period happen. So we recommend that you don't do it before the period. You do it just after the period is done, maybe the week or a few days after that, and it should be done every month, but you must do it at the period. If you're someone who's already menopaused, then you need to, where you no longer have a period, we want you to select one day in the calendar, any day, maybe the first of every month or the last of every month, and you do it at the same time each time.
Ambrose also took the time out to demonstrate the different ways females can go about self-examining their breast using the pads of their fingers.
So for the self-examination, we will first encourage the lady to stand in front of a mirror, and we'd like her to put her hands on her hips, and press down and look at how the breast should both move in a similar way. We'd ask you then to bend over a little bit, and when they hang, they should hang in the same way. One should not be retracted while the other one can hang a little bit loose. Okay. And then we get you to turn a bit to each side, and each one should have a similar look in their profile. Okay. Now, the step 2 is actually touching and feeling the breast. There are 3 patterns. One patient may choose to do up and down, or you may go in a wedge-like fashion, like pizza cuts around the breast. And the other one is where you're going to put your arm over your head, and you can do it lying down and do the same of any of those 2 patterns. Right? And then you can begin at the top, and you feel right down to the nipple, and then you come around at 2 o'clock, you do the same, come around at 3 o'clock at the fingertips, just the pads of your fingers, and you do a 4 o'clock right up, do 6 o'clock, and you move right around the breast in this sort of wedge-like fashion, and then you need to go up under the armpit and feel there as well, because there's a little bit called a breast tail that goes right up under the armpit, and you want to feel for that as well. And you look at the nipples and they should look the same. Now when you check the nipples, you shouldn't squeeze real hard because then you can rupture the little blood vessels at the tip. So you need to just pinch a little bit like that and see if anything oozes out.
SVG-TV News also caught up with one breast cancer survivor, Gloria Williams, who strongly believes that life is what you make it.
I have come up with a philosophy called ACE in the case, where ACE. A, you accept firstly, it is what it is. Secondly, C, you comply. You know what the doctor says you should do, what convention in terms of nutrition and all the treatments say that you must do. And then E, you educate yourselves. You should be able to know your breast so well, the contours of your breast so well, that the slightest change, you should find it. That's how I found mine. And it really assists because it augurs well for early detection. And early detection is what allows for a higher survival rate. If you have goals and dreams and aspirations, you have become a breast cancer victim, it's not the end of the world. Change your goals, modify your aspirations, but always look for the positive. Although there would be things and persons who are negative, you shun negative people, shun negative things, but always stay on the path of happiness. Smile every day, do your workouts, eat properly, and be generally good from inside out.
You've heard it, Gloria Williams, and her final words: be positive and look for the positives in everything that happens. Reporting for SVGTV News, I am Jamisha Rice.
That is the local news.